Okay, Americans, when was the last time that when you're driving that you brush up against some tree branches and stuff? This happens like every day. It's like some roads are so narrow that the trees are just right next to you. Hi!
Hi,
I'm Lillian,
I'm Felipe.
and we're the Postmodern family. We are on a road trip, and we figured we would make some video for you on this long trip. It's like 3 hours, 3.5 hours. It's not too bad, but we wanted to talk about driving and the peculiarities of driving in the UK for a while. So that's what this video is about.
We're Americans who live in the UK trying to live a traditional family life.
So hit that subscribe button if you're interested. So we both got our UK license, so we are allowed to drive here in the UK. Legally, you have to get your UK license within a year after you move or
After you become resident.
to the UK. The nice thing I'd say about getting the UK driver's license is that it has our address on it and it's easier to validate that we live here. Like sometimes they want to check that you actually live here, and so if you give them your driver's license, it'll show the address, and it's an easier way rather than bringing your utility bill and etc. The driving itself here in the UK, do you prefer it over American driving?
I think I do. It's more exciting.
I think so too. It's definitely more exciting. People are paying more attention, and I think that makes it safer. So even though the roads are narrower and they have these weird like traffic slowing measures.
Traffic control measures, aren't they?
No, they're traffic slowing measures. Because, for example, sometimes they'll have a two-way road narrow, like bottleneck, into one lane where you have to watch. And
Well, not necessarily.
look
So
for
one
oncoming
side
traffic.
has the right of way, and the other side.
No, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about where it actually narrows on both sides into a middle lane. This is on like smaller roads, like in the neighborhoods. And then you just have to slow down and narrow through that. The other obvious traffic calming measures are speed bumps, which they have here. But they're wider. They're not as tiny as the American ones that like, I think the American ones that are tiny, they damage your car because they're like so sudden. Whereas here they're much longer, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, because of those traffic calming measures, people are paying attention more while they drive, unlike Felipe right now, because he's not speaking to me.
I am paying attention.
And they're more considerate drivers here, so they
A
let
lot
you
more
go.
considerate. Yeah. Very polite.
They basically see what's happening, and they usually let people in or things like that to make the whole traffic situation smoother and easier, right? The other thing that I really like about living here is people know that you're supposed to pass in the fast lane, and if you're not passing, you drive in the slow lane. So the passing lane, which here is the right lane, is always pretty much clear. So it's never like blocked by somebody who's just going too slowly or going at a matching speed as someone in the left lane. I think that's really good. I appreciate that because
Whereas in the US, I think it's rampant that people ignore.
horrible.
Many states have the law in the books that you can't hang in the passing lane, but police don't enforce it, so everyone violates it.
Yeah.
And so people have no passing etiquette on the freeway.
I know, and I just remember in Baltimore especially, it's just horrible. Like, almost it would be like that the slow lane would be open, and then it would just make us want to pass in the slow lane because that's the only lane that's open. Everyone else would be in the middle or the fast lane.
You would create the dangerous situation of passing on the passenger side of the vehicle instead of the driver's side.
Yeah, but that was always like a really frustrating thing about driving in Baltimore. Specifically Baltimore, I think.
No, Florida is horrible. Florida is terrible.
People don't know how to drive in Florida, actually.
No.
I've heard that. I would say the best drivers in America are people in Syracuse because they have to deal with the snow all year round. So you they know how to drive when the road conditions are poor. Not necessarily when like in etiquette and stuff, but they know how to use their manual stick shift. You know, they know how to go uphill, downhill.
Well, the etiquette thing is a big deal. In the U.S., people don't let you in. So if you're at an intersection and you're trying to turn left or right at that intersection and it's very bumper to bumper traffic, no one's going to let you in.
Yeah.
You have to muscle yourself in.
You have to just like stick your nose out and hope that no one's going to hit you.
Yeah.
But here, like, they even stop to let you turn, like, even though they're going straight. Even that's like completely illegal, I think. I think it's dangerous too, but they do.
Let's say you're on a road, and it's one lane each way, and you're gonna make a right hand turn, and there's a car coming towards you in the opposite lane. They sometimes see that you're trying to make a right, and maybe that you've been there very long, and they'll slow down and flash their lights, and let you turn in front of them, which is cool. Yeah.
Very nice, but it is quite dangerous. But then again, everyone's paying attention, so no one's going to get hurt because they're going to see that someone slowed down in their lane, and they'll slow down and not get rear-ended. So
but the stereotype in America, I think, for anyone who knows about driving in the UK, they'll think, of course, driving on the left-hand side is the first thing they think about, and then all the roundabouts. So I think those are the two common things that people think about. But there's so much more that's different and unique about driving here.
Another example is exit numbers and stuff here are tiny. They're not as important as the name of the town you're trying to go to or the name of the road that you're using, the M's and the A's and the B's. Whereas in America, it's like you just memorize that exit number. Some states have it where it's by mileage. So that's kind of cool. But in New York, it was just numerical 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And that was annoying because sometimes it would be like 50 miles in between an exit and other times like 5 miles. So it would kind of sneak up on you.
But it would still be exit 1 and then exit 2,
right.
Even though it was like 50 miles apart.
But in Florida, it's
by
miles.
mileage.
Yeah. So then you get like 230 something, right, exit, which is a little strange for us in New York.
But in New York, where the exit number is the critical aspect, you refer to not towns but exit numbers. Like,
I live by exit 8.
Instead of saying, "Oh, you're going to Oswego," you say, "Oh, take exit. I live by exit 10." That's where I live.
But so here, if you're looking for exit numbers, they're very small. It's almost like you can't tell they're there.
Yeah.
So don't rely on those when you're driving here, Americans. You should know the name, the town, the direction, the east, west, etc., to find your way around.
Yeah. How about using GPS navigation?
So here they call it sat-nav, like satellite navigation, not GPS, which I don't know what it stands for.
Global Positioning Satellites.
Oh, right. And I don't know, for me it's the same. The only weird thing is the roundabout.
When you're on the motorway or the highway, there are a lot of forks, or the highway starts to separate. And and let's say your sat-nav or your GPS is telling you, it's showing you the next exit, and it's only like 2 miles away, so it's starting to visualize that exit. You can see it coming. Before you reach the 2 miles for your exit, the motorway starts to split, and it feels intuitively like that's the exit you should be taking.
Right.
And so in the beginning, I would take a lot of wrong exits because the GPS started to suggest that I was coming up on an exit. And in America,
there were only exits.
There's
not very many.
There are not a lot
forking.
of motorway splits and things like that.
You're supposed to drive in the slow lane, right? And unfortunately, that slow lane becomes the fork off of it.
Yeah.
And so sometimes it catches you by surprise that you have to move over to like what looks like a fast lane, one of 4, in order to stay on the motorway that you're on. So. Yeah, there's many times where we do that accidentally, and then we have to like wait until an exit to turn around because it's not just an exit; it's an actual other highway, motorway.
Yeah. The technicalities in how you approach a roundabout and how you're supposed to exit. I mean, it can be pretty intricate.
Basically, no one knows what's going on. Okay? There's this long-standing argument, I think, between if you wanted to go straight through a roundabout, like if you're going straight, you're not going left, not going right.
This is gonna incite a huge argument in the comment section.
That which lane are you supposed to get in, the left lane or the right lane? So here, roundabouts go clockwise, okay? They don't go counterclockwise like in America. And so if you're in the left lane, it means that you're going to go left. And usually that's like the easiest way to go because you're not crossing anybody in traffic. Now, some people believe that if you want to go straight through a roundabout, that you need to get in the left lane because the only other options for that lane is to get off. So that means that you're never going to be trapping anybody to your left if you wanted to go straight, okay? Other people say that you have to be in the right lane. Usually there's 2 lanes going to a roundabout. The right lane, because you're not exiting, because you're not going to the left, you have to be on the right. So the right is for either going straight or going right. So I don't know.
But then so there's the easiest, of course, is when there's 1 lane going into a roundabout. That's easy, no brainer.
Yeah, no brainer.
2 lanes gets a little bit more complicated. Then 3 lanes gets even more
3
complicated.
lanes is easier because the middle, I think, is either straight or right. And then the right lane is obviously going to the right. You're going to get off to the right. Whereas the left lane is reserved for left. But usually there are arrows. So if you look at the arrows on the ground, that will tell you where you need to be.
They're not, well, yeah.
And there's not a rule about the arrows. The arrows could mean anything. They could be anywhere, pretty much.
Yeah. You know, there's a proper way to use the indicator as you enter the roundabout and then as you exit.
What I learned is if you're not exiting to the left, then you need to indicate to the right, even if you're going straight. And then as you're approaching the exit, then you signal left.
My instructor said if you're going straight through the roundabout, you don't enter with a signal.
Okay.
And then when you exit, you signal. Just before you exit, signal left.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
My instructor said something else.
Well, I trust my instructor.
I do trust your instructor. I like your instructor better.
She's the best. I hope she watches this.
Wait, let's say you're in the roundabout. Like, what lane do you have to be to get off? Because sometimes you can't get all the way to the left to exit, and sometimes you're in the middle lane and that one happens to exit.
That's always that's like stressful for me because...
Yeah, the most complicated is, let's say...
You're entering a roundabout that you wanted to make a right exit to. And then as you come around the roundabout, there's 4 lanes or something in the roundabout. And you've entered it in the innermost lane. So as you traverse the roundabout, you actually have to change lanes inside the roundabout.
Going out towards
to get to the lanes that allow you to make, ultimately, the right exit that you wanted to make. And sometimes you miss it. Sometimes a barrier is introduced somehow in the roundabout. So that then you have to come back around.
The good thing about roundabouts is that if you miss your exit, you can just loop back around.
Yeah, that's true. That's what I did on my driving test. I missed my exit, and at that point I thought I failed because I missed the exit, but it was fine.
But I would say the most stressful part of driving here are the country roads, when it's basically 1 lane.
And it's so narrow.
1 lane, and then you have little alcoves for people to butt out to let you...
When was the last time in America, Americans, when was the last time that when you're driving that you brush up against some tree branches and stuff? This happens like every day. It's like some roads are so narrow that the trees are just right next to you. There's no shoulder in a lot of these places. And then usually it's 1 lane for 2 ways.
Yeah.
And you have to just watch. And when someone is going to squeeze by you, like you have to go like 1 tire on the dirt.
Yeah.
And
or
the other
worse, reverse.
Or reverse and go and find the last little pull out.
Yeah.
Last shoulder that they have.
Yeah. Similar to that is the parked cars on both sides of an urban road.
I mean, I guess I can't be ticked off about this, but in America, it's illegal. I think it's illegal to park
in such a way
where you now have turned a 2-way road into 1 lane. You have to look ahead and hope that like no one is coming towards you.
Yeah.
And thankfully, it's like people don't drive too fast. And when you see someone, both people are paying attention. So it's just that someone has to stop and back out, which is really weird. In America, it just wouldn't happen. And in America, I think you'd run the risk of getting into an accident because people are so unaware and driving too fast. I don't know what the tests are like in America now, but the UK test recently changed, but they still have this thing called like the road hazard simulation test, and it makes you watch a video and you're supposed to click every time you see a possible hazard. So anything that would cause you or someone else to slow down, change what you're doing. And if you click too soon, if you click too late, then you don't get the point. And that's actually a big portion of your driver's test here in the UK, is to be able to identify
hazards. The development of hazards.
That's cool.
Yeah, we had nothing like that in the US.
No. It was just a written exam on the rules and then the driving test. And even in the driving test, they didn't ask you questions, did they? Whereas here in the UK, they ask you some like basic functioning, like what about the car, if you know how to turn on the fog lights and etc. And then some safety questions.
So you took some lessons before, or was it one lesson?
I took one lesson.
You took one lesson before taking the road test and passed on your first try with how many minors?
I had 7 minors.
7 minors. Okay.
7 minor faults.
Right. I went into my first test without taking any lessons, and I failed with 3 or 4 minors and 1 major fault.
You failed.
And then, I said, I'll take a lesson. So I took 1 lesson, and then I passed with 1 minor.
But the major fault I had was, for me, it seems trivial, but I mean, it's a big deal, and it goes to the paying attention bit, is they test you on a maneuver here called...
Reverse around a corner.
Reverse around a corner or reverse around a bend.
Which no one uses. I just don't know why they don't. They got rid of it, actually.
In the new test, they got rid of it, but it was still in the books when I took the test. I didn't return my gaze to the right to check that there were cars.
He didn't physically turn around to look, which you have to do.
Yeah.
He checked his mirrors and all that, and he could see that no one was there, but you have to physically turn around.
Yeah. So that was it.
Thanks so much for watching our video. We hope you enjoyed it. Do hit that subscribe button and check us out on patreon.com/thepostmodernfamily. Thanks for watching. Bye.
Bye.